Hi guys. Okay, so if you are here, it is because you saw the beautiful title with two very special words in it, vector marketing. I'm assuming that if you're here, you either have been contacted by vector marketing, you are considering working for vector marketing, or you want to know if vector marketing is a scam. I am going to give you the realist review and assessment of their interview process. I do not work for Vector Marketing Corporate, so I'm going to give you the real. So let's jump right in. My story with Vector is pretty common, except for they usually gear towards people who are either just starting college or in college. I am out of college, but I received a text message from an unsaved number, and it was from a woman. She told me her name was. She said that she knew, and then she name dropped someone from college, someone that I went to college with. I'm guessing to make me feel comfortable, and explained that, my friend was doing such a good job and that they thought I would be a good fit for a place in their company. She did not give me the name of the company. She did not give me the salary. She did not give me anything to help me understand what this was even about. All she said that made it not a spam text, basically, was she name dropped someone's first and last name that I went to college with. Now, it took me a second to figure out who that was. And actually, I thought that person didn't like me very much in college, so I was really surprised by this text. So what do? I'm smart. I go to Instagram. I find this person. I DM them. Hey, are you working for a company that is recruiting, or do you know a girl named whatever the girl's name was? And a few hours later, that person did get back to me and said, yes, that they did work for a company. And yes, she, the person who contacted me, was their manager, and that it is legit. Now, outside of that, I still didn't have much information about what this was about. But I went ahead and I took the bait. And I figured, you know what? If it doesn't go well, at least I'll get a YouTube video about it. Okay, so first things first, after I got the message and then I double checked it with my college friend, I then went back to the message and I said, hi, let's call her Lucy. Hi, Lucy. Yes, tell me more. I'm interested. Now, I'll tell you right away, Vector does everything. All their communications are through text. I guess it's something that they started doing because they felt like younger generations are just, it's easier, it's faster, it's, no pressure if they're just texting you and you text back. So our communication, mine and hers, fully stayed on text until we scheduled a time and a day where I was supposed to have an interview. Now, she made clear in that text that because my friend was such a good employee, that I was being moved to the top of the list and I was going to have an interview ASAP. Now that's scam communication, right? I don't know if my friend was actually a good employee. I don't know how long my friend really had that job. I don't really think that's really my friend. This person, you just gave out my number. We'll circle back as to why my number was given out. That's important for you to know too. So I set up the interview and I'm ready, and it's early one morning, but it's on Zoom. If you've already Googled the company, which you should have already done before watching videos, but if you haven't, most of these marketing scheme companies or MLMs or all the other acronyms for them, right? Most of them are thrilled right now, absolutely thrilled that they can use Zoom communication to go through their marketing and then gathering new people, scheduling interviews. They are ecstatic about that. Do you know why? It's because the turnover is so much faster. Now, there are older videos on here where you can see other YouTubers talking about going to Vector and going to an actual location and being there all day long, watching some kind of presentation, and then having an interview, right? So now that Zoom is available and Zoom has been so popular through the pandemic, they are in love with that because, as I found out, early that morning, myself and who knows how many other people were on that Zoom. It did not tell me how many people, but my guess is 50 or more. 50 sounds low. Like I would assume that they are just like jetting them out, 100 people on video calls. I cannot imagine anything under 50. So that was disappointing. First of all, just, showing up for my special interview that I got moved to the top of the list to find out that I was not the only person in the interview. But like I said, it was just an experience and I wanted to see what it was about. Also, in my scheduling with Lucy, she gave me the name of my interviewer. She said, your interview will be with so-and-so. And when I arrived to my Zoom, when I got on my Zoom, it was not the so-and-so she told me it was. So, that's not a total red flag, but any kind of interview that you do, if you're not meeting the person they say you're going to meet, normally if it's like a one-on-one interview, you want to ask about that. Like, oh, that's great. It's nice to meet you, John, but I actually thought I was going to meet Chris, whatever it is. But when you're in a gigantic Zoom interview, you can't really ask questions. In fact, when I showed up, when we all logged on, we were sent a chat from the person in charge of the presentation. It was not an interview at all. And they asked you to share a couple of things about yourself, how old you are, if you were in school, and if you were currently working in the chat, which would go directly to the presenter. So I did, right? And then honestly, once I got to that point, when I showed up and when I saw it was not just me, and when, they're asking if I'm in college or whatever, that's when I knew that this was not something I wanted to be interested in. This was not something for me. So I just kind of decided I was going to ride the wave, right? Just kind of see what they were about. Now, I have the receipts. Hopefully Vector doesn't come after me for this, but I took a video of the presentation because it was just ludicrous to me that the way that they handled it, right? From the very first text, if you're not willing to say what the company is, you're running some kind of scam. Now, they have been in business a very long time. And yes, they are a real company. And yes, they do make real money. And yes, they do make you sell to your friends and family. So if that's something you don't want to do, go ahead and exit this YouTube and then exit anything else that has to do with their company. Just say no. But if you want to ride the wave like I did, you can sign up and schedule that Zoom and get all the information that I did. We were in there for about an hour. It was the lead presenter explaining and talking about the company. It was a PowerPoint slideshow. It was a video also. And then when it was over, we were told that they were going to send a form in the chat. And once we all got the form, we were to fill out the form, send it back in the chat, exit the Zoom, and we would get a phone call later that day if it seemed like we were a candidate for Vector. Which is so extra. But like I said, this is why companies like that love the Zoom, because they can have so many people in that Zoom call that basically you're going to get at least a 50% of those people who A, stayed on the call, and B, filled out that form and sent it back. So being a good investigator like I am, I went ahead and I filled out the form and sent it back. And I said, sure, give me a call later. I left that Zoom, probably went back to sleep, then got up, went about my day, completely forgot about it, right? And then some point around, 7 p.m. Pacific, I was like, I never got that call. Then I felt offended. Am I not a candidate for Vector? 9 p.m. rolled around, and yes, I got a phone call from the presenter himself. Now, he had a very busy day, and I told him that on the phone. I was like, wow, you've been on calls for probably 12, 13 hours now, calling everyone who was interested. And that's amazing that they have so many people who were interested. So he started giving me the little spiel on the phone, and that, I guess, was supposed to be the interview. The interview really is just to see if you're willing to sit through the presentation and if you're willing to give information on that form. And let me circle back for just a second. On that form, it actually asks you to include friends and their phone numbers of people you think would be interested in working for Vector. Now, like I said, the person who put me on, I didn't really think we were friends. He probably never thought that they would contact me. Little did he know that that is their MO. That is what they do. This is why they have such a good system of texting and scheduling Zooms, because they probably jump at getting additional people's phone numbers and information from the interview form. So on my form, I actually think I skipped it. So I was considering that might have been one of the reasons why I didn't get a phone call. But then I did. I got the phone call at 9 p.m. I chatted with the guy for a bit, and then he asked if I had any questions. And I said, well, actually, because I've actually worked in sales for a while, I'm not willing to market to my friends and family or to gather my own clientele. Is there another position that you guys have for maybe scheduling or training? To my surprise, he said yes, that they had something of a social media recruiter. And I thought, okay, yeah, sure, I can recruit kids all day for this. I just don't want to be the one to go and sell to my friends and family. And he said that he was going to text me and make it a group text between him, myself, and someone else in the company who handles that. So I said, sure. We hung up the phone. I got that text in the group. I responded to that text. And that was probably about 3 months ago. Never heard anything else. So let me tell you what I learned from their little slideshows. Yes, they do sell knives. Yes, they do sell kitchenware. Yes, you can make money. But the main and most important thing is you do sell to your friends and family. They do not provide clientele to you. You get paid for the presentations that you give, and I believe that they do give you these supplies. And there's additional training days past the Zoom interview day. So if you're not willing to go to your friends and family and essentially beg them to buy knives on your behalf, you're not going to make money. And if you think that you can do it with strangers, they actually frown upon that. There's a whole moment in the slideshow where they take the time to tell you why it's important to sell to people that you know, why it's important to get referrals, because the referrals that you get need to come from people that you know so that they stay, they keep their appointments, and so then you make your money. Whereas with strangers, it takes longer. Maybe they're more willing to cancel on you, then you don't get that presentation money. So there is the ability to make money. I don't knock them for it, but they definitely make it sound a lot easier than it is. So short and sweet, yes, they are a real company. Yes, it is possible to make money. Yes, if you want to work for them, they want to work with you. That's how it works. But if you have any kind of hesitation, if you're not really feeling it, if you're not going to be the person running up to your aunts and uncles, asking for them to send you to their coworkers to sell knives, it's probably not going to happen for you. But a hustler is a hustler. But there are other ways to hustle that don't involve knife shows. Just saying. Here's a few stills from my quote-unquote interview. As you can see, I'm really into it. I've blurred out the host and the chat and any pertinent information, but this gives you a better idea of what to expect on the day if you choose to interview with them. So Vector wasn't for me, probably was never for me, but it was interesting, and now I got to make a video out of it. So I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And if you work for them and you had a totally different experience, congratulations. It just wasn't for me. Thanks.